2 skiffs, 8 armed pirates, 1 massive target on the horizon. In 90 seconds, they'd realize it wasn't a cargo ship. It was a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier with 5,000 sailors, 70 fighter jets, and absolutely zero tolerance for threats. The pirates had AKs and rope ladders. The USS Eisenhower had a carrier strike group and weapons that cost more than their entire country's GDP. This wasn't going to be a hijacking. It was going to be a masterclass in overwhelming force. And the pirates? They were about to get schooled. Radar caught them before anyone saw them. 2 blips, moving fast, no transponder signal, closing distance. Inside the Combat Information Center aboard the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, screens lit up like a Christmas tree. The watch officer didn't hesitate. Contacts inbound, bearing 085. Speed increasing. In the Red Sea, you don't wait for introductions. You assume danger and act. The deck officer grabbed comms immediately. CIC to bridge. Launch rotary wing, now. Topside, the ship was already alive. This wasn't some merchant convoy limping through shipping lanes. This was a carrier strike group on active patrol. The Eisenhower sat at the center like a steel nerve system. Under 3 minutes later, an MH-60R Seahawk lifted off the deck, rotors screaming. Door gunner locked in. Sensors hot. It banked hard toward the incoming threats. On the flight deck, nobody even paused. Yellow shirts directed traffic. Red shirts prepped munitions. Green shirts waved clearance for backup aircraft. Inside CIC, another update. Contacts diverging. 1 breaking left, 1 still inbound. Classic pirate playbook. Split the target's attention, confuse the response. The captain's reply was ice cold. Hold course, let them show their hand. Above the water, the Seahawk pilot got eyes on target. Radioed back immediately. Visual confirmed. Armed personnel. Visible weapons. That's all the confirmation anyone needed. Because when you're carrying rifles on a skiff in hostile waters, you've already made your intentions clear. A second Seahawk spun up. RHIB teams aboard the nearby destroyer USS, gravely geared up fast. On deck, the phalanx CIWS rotated into ready mode. Quiet, calm, deadly. The entire strike group moved like a single organism, but they weren't waiting to get hit first. On a nuclear carrier, waiting is weakness. Action is doctrine. The pirates still thought they were hunting prey. They had no idea they'd already been marked as targets. The skiff on the right kept pushing forward. No deviation, no slowdown, just reckless momentum. At roughly 800 yards out, the Seahawk descended. Side gunner swung the M240 into firing position. No shots yet, just presence. A very clear message written in steel and altitude. Back off or face consequences. But the pirates didn't flinch. One of them actually stood up, lifted something long and tubular onto his shoulder. RPG launcher. That sealed it. Threat confirmed. The Seahawk radioed in. Armed hostile. Rocket-propelled grenade visible. Continuing approach. Back aboard the Eisenhower, the captain didn't blink. From the port side of the Gravely, 2 11-meter RHIBs hit the water hard. Packed with Navy VBSS teams. Body armor. M4 carbines. Flashbangs. These weren't negotiators. These were tactical operators with full authority to neutralize threats. Fast. The carrier itself didn't need to fire anything. That's what the escort ships were for. But if escalation happened, the phalanx turrets were already tracking. Radar locked, ready to shred anything that moved wrong. At the same time, the Gravely slid into flanking position. It looked like high-speed chess played with warships. 1 skiff trying to outmaneuver 2 destroyers and a helicopter. Not exactly smart odds. Overhead, the Seahawk gunner delivered a final warning. He fired a controlled burst into the water. Right across the skiff's bow. The meaning couldn't be clearer. Turn back or get sunk. This time, the pirates reacted. Too late. The RHIB was already on them. Engines roaring. Cutting through surf like a blade. First VBSS team boxed the skiff from the right. Second team blocked escape from behind. Loudspeaker barked orders. Drop your weapons. Hands visible. Do it now. Panic set in fast. 1 pirate threw his AK overboard. Another froze completely. Eyes wide. Good choice. The ones who hesitated got even less time to decide. Under 45 seconds, it was finished. Weapons seized. Pirates restrained with zip ties. Faces down on the RHIB deck. Skiff under tow. Scene locked down. And the Eisenhower didn't even slow down. Didn't alter course. Because carriers don't handle every threat personally. They deploy assets that hit harder and faster. The pirates finally understood. They hadn't just picked the wrong vessel, they'd picked the wrong ocean. The pirates sat restrained, disarmed, staring at boots, but the Navy wasn't finished. See, when you attempt an attack on a U.S. aircraft carrier, even a failed one, they don't just stop you, they dissect you. Document everything, build intelligence, because tomorrow's threat might carry drones instead of AKs. So while VBSS teams hauled suspects aboard the Gravely, a second Seahawk flew perimeter sweeps. Not babysitting. Scanning, thermal imaging, hull markings, checking if that skiff carried advanced tech, GPS units, satellite phones, encrypted radios, anything suggesting this was more than amateurs with bad judgment. Turns out, it wasn't just random pirates. Back on the Eisenhower, operations continued without interruption. The carrier hadn't broken formation, hadn't missed a single sortie. Catapults still launching FA-18 Super Hornets into the sky. Deck crews didn't even look rattled. You'd never know an intercept happened unless you checked radar logs. That's the reality of carriers. They don't flinch. Because while pirates chase money with leaky motors and stolen weapons, the U.S. Navy operates 100,000-ton nuclear fortresses capable of launching aircraft every 90 seconds during surge ops, directing security across entire regions. You think pirates intimidate that? Not a chance. Here's what they missed. The second skiff. Remember? The one that veered off early. It didn't escape. A drone tracked it 6 nautical miles out, idling near a fishing vessel that looked way too clean for commercial work. Minutes later, that vessel got swarmed by another RHIB team from the USS Mason. Different destroyer. Same strike group. Result? 2 more pirates detained. 1 laptop confiscated. A whole stack of questions that'll get answered in a classified facility somewhere in Djibouti. What started as a simple intercept just exposed a much bigger network. But here's the best part. The original pirate crew still believed they'd attacked a cargo freighter, right up until a U.S. Marine leaned over and asked, "You realize you just tried boarding an aircraft carrier, right?" Silence. Then one of them muttered something under his breath. Nobody officially translated it. But if we had to guess, probably something like fatal error. Want to support our mission? Join the fleet, get loyalty badges, priority replies, help bring real stories from the sea to the surface. Go to our channel page, click join, step aboard. Now back to the story. Let's be crystal clear for anyone still wondering why a carrier is the worst possible target. Here's the truth. Attacking a U.S. aircraft carrier is like charging a tank with a pocket knife, except the tank floats, launches fighter jets, and has its own postal code. The pirates thought they were chasing an undefended freighter. What they actually found was the most protected vessel on any ocean. Ever. Let's break it down. First, an aircraft carrier never sails alone. Ever. If you're approaching a flat deck, you're approaching a carrier strike group. Tight formation of destroyers, cruisers, submarines, supply vessels, helicopters, drones, and a sky full of fighter jets. It's basically a floating war city with zero tolerance for stupidity. Take the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, nuclear-powered, over 1,000 feet in length, nearly 5,000 personnel aboard, capable of launching fully armed FA-18s every 90 seconds during surge operations. And that's just what you see above the waterline. Below deck, multiple hangar bays, maintenance facilities, weapon magazines, radar control centers, intelligence hubs, and its own internal security force. Every inch monitored, logged, defended. Now let's talk firepower. You've got CIWS, close-in weapon systems. The Phalanx CIWS spits out 4,500 rounds per minute. Think of it as a radar-guided shredder that doesn't need permission. Then there's ESSM, Evolved Sea Sparrow missiles, anti-air, anti-missile, anti-whatever you've got, fast, accurate, lethal. And that's not counting the MH-60R Seahawk helicopters, EA-18G Growlers for electronic warfare, E-2D Hawkeye radar aircraft that can see farther than most nations can dream. You don't sneak up on a carrier. You don't surprise a carrier. You get detected, tracked, locked, and illuminated before your engine hits full throttle. And here's the crazy part. They didn't even use 10% of their capabilities. The Navy could have launched drones, fired warning flares, scrambled jets, deployed Marine detachments, or if things went sideways, authorized lethal force within seconds. But they didn't need to, because the threat was so far below their response threshold, it was almost laughable. Almost. Here's some perspective. A single carrier strike group can control airspace the size of Texas. That means from hundreds of miles away they know who you are, where you're headed, what you're carrying. If they let you get close, It's because they're observing your next move. And if that next move looks even remotely hostile, done deal. So yeah, trying to hijack a US carrier? That's not just reckless. That's like trying to tackle an entire football team while holding a foam bat. And the Navy wasn't finished, because every piece of equipment, every radio frequency, every loose detail, that's all intelligence gold now. Stopping the threat is only phase 1. Phase 2, exploiting every mistake the enemy made. So while the pirates sat restrained, silently reconsidering every life choice, the Navy's intelligence teams were already tearing apart the entire encounter. That RPG launcher? Bagged, scanned for origin markers. The broken satellite phone? Stripped, dumped into a secure signal analyzer. Every coordinate logged by Seahawk sensors, mapped, cross-referenced with smuggling routes, Iranian weapon flows, pirate cell movements from Mogadishu to Mukalla, because the Navy doesn't just stop pirates, they study them, hard. And this skiff? It was practically a floating intelligence briefing. In the command spaces aboard the USS Eisenhower, analysts combed through everything. Thermal footage, radio intercepts, power signatures, hull construction materials, even the fuel containers got sampled. One odd frequency caught attention. It matched chatter intercepted near an illegal arms shipment from Eritrea. Jackpot. Now it wasn't just a random pirate attack. It was part of a network, which meant the follow-up wouldn't be just a report. It would be a live targeting package. Within 12 hours, that data was already moving up the chain. CENTCOM, AFRICOM, coalition partners, intelligence fusion centers in Bahrain and Djibouti. The entire machine moved fast, because the next raid might not involve RPGs, maybe drones next time, or smuggled manpads, or worse, pirates unknowingly acting as bait for a deeper hidden threat. That's the operational mindset. Every small contact gets treated like a probe, a test, a potential distraction, or a warning sign. So the Navy doesn't just swat threats, it maps the entire ecosystem. And for those pirates, they were just the first ripple. The real wave was already building beneath the surface. Intelligence teams cross-referencing data, drones shifting search patterns, strike planners whispering the 3 most dangerous words in the US Navy's vocabulary. Target package confirmed. The ocean looked quiet again, but it wouldn't stay that way. The Navy was watching, and now everyone else was too. By sunrise, the ocean was calm once more. The Eisenhower hadn't missed a beat. Flight operations resumed. Coffee brewed. Jets launched. Another day aboard the most lethal ship afloat. But beneath that calm surface, everything had shifted. What started as a clumsy ambush attempt had triggered a multi-branch intelligence sweep across the entire region. Satellites repositioned. Communications traffic flagged. Even Allied ships in the corridor got briefed. Because the message wasn't just for the pirates. It was for anyone watching, anyone planning, anyone foolish enough to think a US aircraft carrier is vulnerable. This was a silent broadcast, written in precision, speed, and overwhelming force. We saw you. We stopped you. We learned from you. And next time, you won't even get the chance. In the skiff's wake, the Navy's message rippled outward. Smuggler communications dropped off. Suspicious radio bursts went silent. And for several tense days, even the sea lanes near Somalia went quiet. Because when the US Navy responds, they don't issue warnings. They make examples. This encounter proved something critical. Carriers aren't just ships, they're strategic deterrents. Floating command centers that project power across thousands of miles. And when you test them, you don't just lose the fight, you expose your entire network. That intelligence gathered from this single intercept, it's already being used to dismantle pirate cells, track weapon smuggling routes, and prevent future attacks before they even launch. That's the real power. Not just stopping threats, but learning from them, adapting, and ensuring the next threat never materializes. If you were commanding that carrier, what would you have done differently? Would you have captured them alive or sunk the skiff on sight? Let us know in the comments below. And if you thought this breakdown was intense, subscribe for more untold military stories that shaped today's conflicts. Hit that bell so you never miss what's coming next. Next time, we're covering the submarine incident that nearly triggered an international crisis. You won't believe what happened when 2 nuclear subs played chicken in the Arctic. If you want to go one step further and support the channel directly, join the fleet. You'll get loyalty badges, priority replies, and help us bring more real naval stories to the surface. Click join on our channel page and step aboard. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay safe,